A farmers' delegation from Uttarakhand meets Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, supports the new Farm Act. Tomar and Home Minister Amit Shah also meet BJP leaders from Punjab to discuss the farmers' protest. As farmers threaten to intensify their agitation, government ministers and BJP leaders fan out across the country to sensitise them on the reforms. Union Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad addresses farmers in Bakhtiarpur, and UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath in Meerut say that opposition has double standards on the farm sector. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman to virtually hold first pre-budget consultations with top industrialists to start pre-budget consultations with stakeholder groups in New Delhi in connection with the forthcoming General Budget 2021-22. Polling for third and final phase of local body in Kerala's four north districts, Malappuram, Kozhikode, Kannur and Kasaragod begins. Counting of votes to take place on December 16th. Results of Zilla Panchayat elections in North and South Goa to be announced today. Counting begins at 15 notified sectors. In India, the number of active COVID-19 cases fall below the 3,62,000 mark. Recovery rate increases to 94.93%. Death toll falls below 500 for the 8th straight day. BJP President JP Nadda tests positive for COVID-19. And in the US, first round of COVID-19 vaccinations to begin today. General Gustav Perna, in charge of distribution, informs that first 3 million doses of the vaccine to be shipped across all states this weekend. Meanwhile, new nationwide lockdown to come into force from Wednesday in Germany. Good morning. You're watching DD India and I'm Preeti presenting this bulletin. Our top story first. Union Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar yesterday addressed a delegation of over 100 farmers from Uttarakhand who extended their support to the new farm laws. Also, a delegation of Punjab BJP leaders led by State President Ashwini Sharma met Tomar and Union Home Minister Amit Shah in Delhi yesterday. Stressing that reforms are necessary for a new India, Narendra Singh Tomar said that these reforms will benefit farmers in the long run. Meanwhile, today on the 19th day of the agitation, farmers have threatened to intensify it further. A day-long hunger strike has been planned for today. Security has been tightened accordingly. We get you more in this report.
Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar on Sunday held talks with farmers from Uttarakhand as the protest against new farm acts entered the 19th day. This comes a day after he reached out to farmers from Haryana.
उत्तराखंड के किसान बड़ी संख्या में कृषि सुधार बिलों का समर्थन करने के लिए मेरे यहाँ आए थे। भारत सरकार की ओर से ऐसे सभी किसान भाइयों का हृदय से बहुत बहुत स्वागत है, बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन है। उन्होंने कृषि सुधार बिलों को समझा, उसके बारे में अपनी राय दी और अपना समर्थन व्यक्त किया। इसके लिए मैं भारत सरकार की ओर से सभी किसान भाइयों का आभार प्रकट करता हूं।
माननीय कृषि मंत्री जी ने ये कहा, आश्वासन दिया हमें कि हम लोग किसानों के साथ बैठ के बात करके इसका समाधान निकालेंगे, क्योंकि कृषि मंत्री ने ये कहा किसान हमारे हैं, हम किसानों का किसी तरह का उत्पीड़न नहीं होने देंगे। किसानों की आड़ में कुछ लोग राजनीति कर रहे हैं, जिसका नुकसान हमारे किसान भाइयों को हो रहा है।
हम आज किसान की तरह आए हैं, बात की है मंत्री जी से। उन्होंने बताया कि हमने ऐसा ऐसा ये चीज मानी भी है, ये करी भी है, तो उन्होंने उसका पूरा आश्वासन दिया, सारा कुछ किया, टेबल पे बात चल रही है। तो मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है कि सरकार कहीं से कहीं तक किसानों के खिलाफ नहीं है। माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी की सरकार जब किसी भी सेक्टर में किसी के भी खिलाफ नहीं है, तो ये किसानों के खिलाफ कैसे हो सकती है?
Earlier in the day, Home Minister Amit Shah and Agriculture Minister went into a huddle with BJP leaders from Punjab to review the situation. The government reiterated that the reforms would benefit the farmers, although it could consider suitable amendments to the acts.
प्रधानमंत्री जी माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी खुद इसकी मॉनिटरिंग कर रहे हैं, गृह मंत्री जी इसकी बैठ के ले रहे हैं, माननीय तोमर साहब सब लगातार प्रयास कर रहे हैं। और इसके अंदर जिस तरह से विपक्ष है वो इसके अंदर रोड़ा डालने का प्रयास कर रहा है। ये बिल प्योरली किसानों के लिए बना है, तो मेरा तो यही कहना है कि किसानों को 2 कदम आगे बढ़ना चाहिए और इस बिल का समर्थन करना चाहिए और निश्चित रूप से कुछ उसका अगर उनको संशोधन की अगर लगता है तो उसके लिए भारत सरकार दे।
The BJP accused the opposition of spreading misinformation about the reforms and instigating the agitating farmers. The party says it will educate the farmers about the benefits of the new acts and dispel the myths circulated by the opposition. Union Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad addressed farmers at Bakhtiarpur in Bihar. In his speech, the minister recounted the benefits of new farm acts and cautioned people against vested interests seeking to exploit the situation. And Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath spoke about farm reforms at the inauguration of an agricultural university's library in Meerut.
हम कहने को तैयार हैं कि एमएसपी नहीं हटेगी, तो कौन लोग हैं कह रहे हैं कि जब तक ये कानून हटेगा नहीं हम पीछे हटेंगे नहीं। तो हम भी कहना चाहेंगे बड़े आदर के साथ, भारत सरकार किसानों का बहुत सम्मान करती है, नरेंद्र मोदी जी किसानों का बहुत सम्मान करते हैं और देश के किसान भी मोदी जी का बहुत सम्मान करते हैं। हर जगह हम जीत रहे हैं, लेकिन अगर किसानों के आंदोलन की आड़ में भारत को तोड़ने वाले लोग, टुकड़े टुकड़े लोग पीछे होकर आंदोलन के कंधे से गोली चलाएंगे तो उनके खिलाफ बहुत सख्त कार्रवाई भी की जाएगी। ये भी हम बहुत साफ साफ कहना चाहते हैं।
राजीव गांधी जी देश के प्रधानमंत्री रहे। प्रधानमंत्री जब थे तब उन्होंने इस बात पे चिंता व्यक्त की थी कि दिल्ली से 100 रुपया आता है, लेकिन एक किसान और एक मजदूर तक पहुंचते पहुंचते वह केवल 10 रुपये रह जाता है। ये 90 रुपया कौन चढ़ कर जाता है? ये वही चढ़ कर जाते हैं जो आज किसानों की प्रगति और देश की प्रगति पर हो हल्ला करके देश के अंदर गुमराह करके अव्यवस्था और अराजकता का माहौल पैदा करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं।
Meanwhile, farmers continued their sit-in at the Singhu border, Tikri and Ghazipur. They threatened to intensify their agitation. A day-long hunger strike was planned for Monday. They have also threatened to remove barriers on the Jaipur-Delhi and Delhi-Agra highways. Security has accordingly been tightened. Police personnel have been deployed at the Rajasthan border. The government said it was open for talks with farmers. So far, 6 rounds of talks have been held. The government had made certain proposals in writing after the last round of talks, which the farmers rejected out of hand. DD India.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will begin her pre-budget consultations with different stakeholder groups from today in connection with the forthcoming General Budget 2021-22. It will be for the first time that budget consultations will happen virtually in wake of the COVID-19 outbreak. In the tweet, the Ministry of Finance informed that the first pre-budget consultations with top industrialists will be spread over morning and afternoon sessions. The Finance Minister is likely to present her second budget of Modi II government on 1st February 2021. It is a common practice for the Finance Minister to meet various stakeholders, including farmers' organizations, economists, civil society and industry bodies, as part of the pre-budget consultative exercise. Meanwhile, Nirmala Sitharaman yesterday reviewed implementation of Atmanirbhar Bharat package with secretaries of all ministries and departments concerned. In an official release, the ministry said that various ministries and departments have started implementing the packages or schemes under the 3 Atmanirbhar Bharat packages. In Kerala, voting for the third and final phase of local body elections is underway. Voting is being held in 6,867 wards in 354 local bodies spread across 4 districts of Kasaragod, Kannur, Kozhikode and Malappuram. The entire election process is being held adhering to strict COVID guidelines. The polling will be concluded by 6 p.m. COVID patients and quarantined voters can do their voting through special postal ballots distributed via special polling officers. The patients and quarantined people who could not be included in this list have been given the opportunity to vote directly at the polling station after 6 p.m. equipped with a full PPE kit. The first phase of the elections witnessed 73.12% polling, while 76.78% was recorded in the second phase. The counting will take place on December 16th, when the fate of 1,200 local bodies will be decided. Elections are expected to be a tough 3-cornered fight between CPI and LDF, Congress-led UDF and BJP-led NDA. Results of Zilla Panchayat elections in North and South Goa will be announced today. Counting started at 8 a.m. at 15 notified centres. 56.82% voting was recorded for 48 constituencies on Saturday. Out of the total 50 constituencies, polling was postponed in Navilim due to the death of Congress candidate, while at Sankhol, BJP candidate was elected unopposed. Out of the total 200 candidates, 41 are from BJP, 37 from Congress, 6 from NCP, 17 from Mago Party, 20 from AAP. Rashtra Samaj Party has 1 candidate, while 78 are independents. The election was earlier scheduled to be held on March 22nd, and campaigning for the polls had already been carried out by political parties, but it was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Up next, we'll take a look at the update on the COVID-19 situation from across the country. 30,695 recoveries were recorded yesterday, taking the cumulative total of recovered patients to 93,88,159. With this, the recovery rate currently stands at 94.98%. India's three-pronged strategy of test, trace and treat is proving to be a success. The fatality rate has dropped to 1.45% with 1,43,355 deaths recorded so far. The number of active COVID-19 cases in India stands at 3,52,586, which is 3.57% of the total cases reported so far. India has been a mighty warrior in the fight against COVID-19 and is swiftly moving on the path towards recovery, and intensive testing has played a crucial and a huge role in this. And according to the Indian Council of Medical Research, a total of 15 crore 45 lakh 66,990 COVID-19 tests have been conducted till now. About 8 lakh 55,157 tests were conducted yesterday. Meanwhile, BJP National President JP Nadda has tested positive for COVID-19. The leader has shared the news on social media. JP Nadda wrote, and I quote him, "On getting the initial symptoms of coronavirus, I got the test done and the report has come positive. My health is fine and I am following all the guidelines in home isolation on the advice of the doctors." He further added that my request is whoever has come in contact with me in the last few days, please isolate yourself and get yourself checked. Union Law and Justice Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad today virtually addressed FICCI's 93rd Annual General Meeting. Our Digital India aims to make 6 crore people in rural areas across India digitally literate, doing away with the middlemen. He reiterated Prime Minister's changed mantra of work from anywhere, from work from home. He also added that today 85% IT industry is doing work from home due to COVID-19 pandemic, which is being applauded by the world.
Character of digital India, which we had conceived, could ultimately reach the common people's life through digital delivery without any middle. When the COVID came, the issue posed a serious challenge. And then we came with the idea of work from home. And today 85% of India's IT industry continue to work from home. And now we have finalized it. PM said make it permanent, and now you can work from anywhere. So this is a great support which we could give to the IT industry during these challenging times, and the whole world is applauding that.
Karnataka State Road Transport Corporation strike, which is on for the last 3 days, has further intensified, and talks have failed with the employees of KSRTC and BMTC. The government is expected to take stock of the situation on Monday and take further action. The Road Transport Corporation employees have kept off the roads in protest so that their demands can be met. The meeting with Chief Minister had resulted in assurance that some demands will be met after the government agreed on some terms, but the employees refused to return to work. The state government has appealed to the Transport Department employees to call off their strike as commuters were facing hardships. The first trilateral working group meeting between India, Iran and Uzbekistan on the joint use of Chabahar port will be held virtually today. Strategically located, Chabahar port is being increasingly seen as a fulcrum of connectivity to Central Asia. In a statement, Minister of External Affairs said that India welcomes the interest of Uzbekistan to use Chabahar port as a transit port. It said that this will open up economic opportunities for traders and business community of the region. Besides Uzbekistan, other Central Asian countries have also shown interest in using this port. The ministry said India wants to cooperate closely with regional countries on this issue. Supreme Court will hear a plea on air pollution today. In the last hearing, the court asked the centre to ensure that there is no smog in Delhi NCR, while the government said that the commission has started working towards air quality management. The centre had on October 29th informed that it has brought an ordinance to curb air pollution. Recently, Delhi NCR had witnessed a drop in air quality, considering which the Apex Court is expected to issue new guidelines. Meanwhile, a thick layer of smog shrouded parts of Delhi and its neighbouring region today morning, decreasing visibility significantly. The Met Department has predicted dense fog to continue to hover over the city for the next 3 days. As per the IMD, visibility was below 200 metres early in the morning. Rains on Saturday increased moisture content in the air that led to dense fog in parts of the city. Yesterday, the minimum temperature settled at 11.5 degrees Celsius, with the wind direction changing to northwesterly. Now, these winds blow from snow-laden western Himalayas towards the plains. Meanwhile, Delhi's air quality was recorded in the very poor category and is likely to improve due to favourable wind speed. Mumbai city and adjoining Thane, Kalyan, Dombivli and Palghar and Raigad have been receiving moderate rains since morning. Now, there has also been a dip in temperature with smog shrouding parts of the city, leading to decreased visibility. Latest satellite image indicates cloudiness over North Konkan region. According to the Met Department, cloudy sky over Mumbai and around expected to open up in later part of the day. Further, it will be cloudy with thunderstorms with minimum temperature at 22 degrees Celsius for the next 48 hours. Very quickly, we'll get to the global update on COVID-19 situation. The global COVID-19 cases have crossed 7.26 crore and 16 lakh deaths have been reported. Total number of infections globally stood at 7 crore 26 lakh 27,682. The US continues to be the worst affected from the pandemic, reporting over 1.67 crore cases. The US has also the highest number of fatalities in the world from the virus, reporting over 3.06 lakh deaths. Brazil continues to trail behind the US, reporting over 69 lakh cases. Brazil has the second highest death toll in the world. The death toll in the United States from COVID-19 pandemic is closing on the 3 lakh mark, and the total number of COVID-19 cases have hit a record 1.67 crore. The situation is expected to ease a bit with millions of doses of new vaccine that are expected to start rolling out from today onwards across America. The first batch of shots are expected to be aimed largely at healthcare workers and residents and staff of long-term care facilities. Americans already weary from months of lockdowns entered a holiday season under pressure to stay home, avoid gatherings and curtail Christmas shopping, forcing most major cities to remain under strict rules imposed by the state and local officials. The first vaccine was approved by the US Food and Drug Administration on Friday and is expected to touch off a mass inoculation campaign of unparalleled dimension to end the pandemic. On the other side, workers at a Pfizer Incorporated factory in Michigan dispatched the first shipments of its COVID-19 vaccine on Sunday, launching the largest and most complex vaccine distribution project ever in the United States. Workers clapped and whistled as the first boxes were moved towards the waiting trucks. The long-awaited moment comes as infections and deaths from COVID-19 are surging in the United States. The government of Bangladesh has signed an agreement with the Serum Institute of India for procurement of 3 crore doses of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. The vaccine will be delivered in 6 installments of 50 lakh doses each. Health Minister Zahid Malik told media after signing of the agreement that vaccine has proved safe during trials in different countries and it is suitable for Bangladesh, reports the news agency UNB. He also said that the government is also in talks with other countries to procure more doses of COVID-19 vaccine. Germany will impose new nationwide lockdown from Wednesday, with only essential services being allowed. Private gatherings will remain limited to not more than 5 people from 2 households, although the rules will be eased slightly over the Christmas holidays. The restrictions beginning next week include a blanket outdoor alcohol ban. The new restrictions were announced by Chancellor Angela Merkel yesterday. While announcing the restrictions, Merkel said that the new lockdown is necessary as lighter measures to curb the spread of COVID-19 did not work well. In other news, a shooter who had opened fire at a Christmas show in front of St. John the Divine Cathedral in Fulham has died after being shot in the head by the cops. New York Police Commissioner said that the man had a lengthy criminal history and was carrying a bag containing a can of gasoline, rope, wire, knives and a Bible. The 45-minute concert had just concluded and people were starting to walk away when a series of shots were heard, sending people running down Amsterdam Avenue, screaming and diving to the sidewalk. It wasn't clear if the gunman was aiming at people or was firing in the air. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen on Sunday announced that the European Union and United Kingdom negotiating teams have been mandated to continue the post-Brexit trade talks beyond the end of the weekend. After a constructive and useful phone call with British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, von der Leyen said that despite the fact that deadlines have been missed over and over, we both think that it is responsible at this point to go the extra mile. Earlier this week, European Union and United Kingdom leaders have set a deadline of Sunday for a trade deal decision. However, failure to reach a free trade agreement means bilateral trade will fall back on WTO rules in 2021. In the meantime, the British Prime Minister stressed that he remains hopeful about the talks and that he is open to talking with other European Union leaders. In his address to the Climate Ambition Summit, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has hailed the incredible things being done by India in the solar energy sector, as he warned that the emergency facing the world from climate change was far more destructive than even the COVID-19 pandemic. Johnson said this in a speech to the virtual summit, which was earlier addressed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi among around 70 heads of states and governments. The British Prime Minister reiterated United Kingdom's pledge to radically cut dependence on fossil fuels. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed President Donald Trump's announcement of a normalization deal between Israel and Morocco as a historic peace between us. Netanyahu said that it would lead to direct flights between Morocco and Israel, and that the 4th US brokered deal between Israel and an Arab country in the recent months would be a very warm peace. Thanking Trump, he added that he wants to thank the King of Morocco, King Mohammed VI, for taking this historic decision to bring historic peace between the countries. Morocco was the Muslim country from which greatest number of Jews emigrated to Israel after the 1948 creation of the state. A small Jewish community remains in the North African country. The news broke in Israel as Jews marked the first night of Hanukkah, the festival of lights. Let's get to some sports news now. World heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua knocks out Bulgarian Kubrat Pulev in 9th round to retain his heavyweight titles. Joshua produced a devastating win over Bulgarian Kubrat Pulev near the end of the 9th round to retain his IBF, WO and WBA belts at Wembley Arena on Saturday. Joshua looked one punch away from finishing it, but Pulev somehow survived an onslaught to make it to the bell. Now, this is Anthony Joshua's 24th win from 25 professional fights, sets up the clash next year with Tyson Fury, who holds the WBC belt. Champions Mercedes endured an uncharacteristic off day as Max Verstappen cruised to victory for Red Bull in Formula One's season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix on Sunday. Max Verstappen, starting from pole, led every lap of what turned out to be a professional and a processional race to cross the line 15.9 seconds ahead of Valtteri Bottas. Now, it was also Red Bull's first win in Abu Dhabi since Sebastian Vettel took the lead and the victory for Milton Keynes-based team in 2013 and ended Mercedes' streak of 7 straight wins in the Gulf Emirate. Verstappen's victory under the floodlights was the 10th of his career and 2nd this season. This win also moved Max Verstappen closer to Bottas in the overall standings, but he ultimately had to settle for 3rd behind Finn. Fulham produced a shock upset against Liverpool with a 1-1 draw in front of a live crowd at Craven Cottage. The first goal of the match came from Fulham's Bobby De Cordova in 25th minute of the game. Mohamed Salah converted the penalty easily to level the score for Liverpool in the 79th minute after it was adjudged that Abu Bakr Kamara touched the ball with his hand to defend a free kick inside the box. The result means that Liverpool stays 2nd in the Premier League table, while Fulham put valuable points between themselves and Burnley in the 18th place. And in more sports news, Arsenal slumped to a 4th consecutive home defeat after a Granit Xhaka red card and a Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang own goal saw Arsenal go down 1-0 to Burnley. The game started slowly enough. Neither side had the sight of a goal in the opening 10 minutes. Xhaka picked up a yellow card for a cynical foul, then a straight red after VAR checked and showed him grab his opponent by the throat after a melee in midfield. The Swiss midfielder gave a red card after referee Graham Scott reviewed the incident on the pitch side monitor. This led Arsenal to a 4th straight home loss. In Premier League fixtures, James Maddison scored twice as Leicester produced a relentless first-half display to beat Brighton and climb to 3rd place in the Premier League. The 24-year-old struck twice before half-time, curled finish into the top corner after he had slotted in from Jamie Vardy's blocked shot. With the point secured before the interval, Leicester City comfortably saw out a much quieter second period to move 1 point behind Tottenham and Liverpool after both were held to draws on Sunday. Brighton remain 16 but are now just 2 points above the relegation places following Fulham's draw against the champions. That's it in this edition of the News This Hour. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.